right, my fellow manlets. So now Andrew Tate is going to help us out by yelling at us. So here we go. Let's see what Andrew Tate has to say. And by the way, I think he says he's 6'3" in this video. And notice that all these men are also his height, maybe even a little taller. So these are all tall men. I'm sure they could totally empathize with what it's like to be 5'4", 5'3", 5'2". I'm sure, right? Let's hear what Andrew Tate has to say to us.
We're all born, okay, let's say we were all blessed with height at this table.
Mm-hmm.
We still had to become the best version of ourselves. If I was only 6'3" and didn't achieve any of the other things I've achieved, none of you would be watching this podcast right now.
Right. So do you think being 6'3" might have helped you to achieve those things, though? Is it possible, Andrew Tate? Remember, Andrew Tate was a fighter, a professional fighter before he became famous as, I don't know, an influencer or whatever he does now, or in the manosphere. So, yeah, I think his size and body frame might have helped him. Sure, there was hard work, yeah, but his fighting opponents also worked hard. But he had the height to help him with that. And also just being a certain height gets you respect. Respect from women and from men. Look at the statistics. I've shown you the videos about this. I've shown you the data and the research. I don't need to go over that again. So he just doesn't have the sympathy or the empathy. And of course his tall friends here are all going to agree with him. They're going to nod their head and say, yeah, come on, manlet, just, just glow up, okay?
Now, true. Nothing about the height is in and of itself enough value for me to be a valuable man.
Wrong. How many videos have I shown on this channel of women liking men, putting on that female gaze just because a man is 6'3", 6'4", 5'6", and not liking men because they're short, and insisting that a man's height has to start with 6. How about the more respect you get at the workplace and for getting the job interview in the first place and then getting promoted, or getting the job and then getting promoted and then getting raises? And for politicians, the president of the United States is always going to be the tall guy. At least historically, that has been true for the last 50 years or more. So yeah, being 6'3", 4, 5, 6, as these guys are apparently, it makes you a more valuable man in society. Maybe it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
As a man, you build your value. You are born with the cards you're dealt. Sure, it'd be ideal. Look, I'd love to be 7 foot tall. I'm not.
Oh, okay. So he's going to say, I don't have it that great. I'm only 6'3". I wish I could be 7 feet tall. So what? If he was 7 feet tall, I wish I could be 8 feet tall. No, look, nobody needs to be 7 feet tall. That's not even realistic. Okay. You know what? I'm not even that tall. I'm only 6'3". I wish I could be much bigger. Come on, Andrew Tate. No.
It's the same argument. You can only become the best version of yourself, and to sit there and to constantly complain about it is a feminine frame. If you're 5 foot...
Short men get called feminine all the time. He's just adding to that. Thanks a lot, Andrew Tate. Yeah, okay. We get called children. We get called little boys. We get called feminine. It's, you get used to it after a while, but he's just adding to it. He's piling on. Yeah, thanks.
2, you need to become rich, strong, well-connected, and funny and charismatic and interesting and witty.
Yep. There you go. If you're 5'2", you have to be, he said it, rich, funny, charismatic, interesting. You have to do all these things just to make up for being a manlet, for being a short guy. And 5'2" is brutal. That's even shorter than I am. So I don't even know what it's like to be 5'2". I can't even imagine. I'm 5'4", and think of the things I've had to do just to make up for that. And then 5'2", I don't even know what that's like. And Andrew Tate and all these tall guys sitting at this podcast, they don't know what it's like to be even 5 foot anything, not to mention 5'2". They have no clue. But at least he's telling the truth a little bit for once, saying you have to do all these things just to make up for it, and a lot of times it's not going to be enough. Yeah, you get rich, which first of all is harder to do when you're 5'2" in the first place, because you're not going to have that credibility definitely in women's eyes and also in men's eyes. They're not going to take you seriously. So it is a hindrance. It makes it more difficult to achieve all these things that he's talking about. Yeah, be more confident, bro. Be richer, bro. Yeah, it's hard to do that when you've been getting beaten down physically and verbally your entire life. Since he's a tall guy, he probably was able to, I'm not saying he was a bully, I don't know, but he was probably able to fight other men in high school or whatever, and just growing up, it was probably not a situation where he was getting picked on for being short, because he probably wasn't short if he's 6'3" now. So he doesn't know what that's like. He has no clue. And of course, these guys, at the end, they're, yeah, you tell them, Andrew Tate. Yeah. They just have to, they just have to work on all these other things and compensate for it. When you're a short man, if you're 5 foot anything, not to mention 5'2", like Andrew Tate just said, you have to try to make up for it, and then people are going to put you down for it. If you're confident, he's got a Napoleon complex. If you get rich, which is hard to do when you're that short, but if you do somehow manage to do it and you beat all the odds, he's just compensating. He drives a Lambo. He's compensating for being short. And by the time you make that much money, you're probably going to be an old cell. If you're 5'2", 5'4", whatever, and you save up your money, you make money, you save it up. Finally, you're a millionaire, multimillionaire. Yeah, in your 50s, 60s, great, wonderful. Yeah. Meanwhile, he was able to have a mixed martial arts career, successful one, as a tall man with a good frame when he was young, and now he's in the manosphere yelling at us manlets, and he's got his buddies there backing. He's got this group of tall men just basically telling us how to live our lives. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Andrew Tate. You can keep your advice to yourself. No thanks.
It almost seems like you can judge a book by its cover all the time, man, because there's certain people that you look at that you just know their whole life. You know their entire life story, and you'll know whether or not they're successful, have friends, have girlfriends most of the time. And I'm going to share a quote with you real quick. It goes, "It's easy to be an angel in heaven." Where I work, this is a place of pretty much hell, and everyone down there, I know they say, it's your personality, but you don't act like a douche and do, all this shit for no reason. Most of these guys are so beaten down and broken by the world that they can't take it. And I had a very, I gotta record this video, man, because I'm still in fucking shock. I don't even know what the fuck happened. I'll get into this in a second, but, I told my mom, she's like, "You need to quit this job now." And I'm like, no, this shit's been peaceful. Like, I don't have to think about my dog shit life. I just work and come home, nothing really ever happens or goes on, at all. And, it's kind of funny. I want to say this real quick. This Chad Light kid, this 18-year-old Chad Light got hired because, I'm asking him, like, why are you here? Because most of these guys, like, listen, it's no coincidence. Like, these guys I've asked, why are they working here? I've heard from at least 3 different people that only reason they're working here is because this is the only job that would hire them. Only job. No one else would hire them except for this particular job. So one dude I was talking to told me that he job hops from like warehouse to warehouse because no one else will hire him. And there's no coincidence for that. Like, I have this theory that if you are an unattractive male, and people call me like delusional for this, but like, let me just like explain. Basically, I have a theory that if you are an unattractive male like myself, you will struggle to get a job. And, it's like the same thing. Being a sub-5 male trying to get a job, it's the same thing as trying to get a job with a face tattoo. Like, what do you guys, thoughts on that? But anyway, this Chad Light, 6'1", he told me he was 6'1". He's like slightly taller than me. And this dude, I'm asking him, why are you here? He's working part-time. And he told me, he's like, oh man, and this guy is completely untouched by the world. Untouched by the fucking world. like literally just so happy. He's like, oh man, you know, I'm raising money so I can pay rent in my frat, man. These guys are gonna be my brothers forever. And I'm telling him like, man, you know, that shit probably won't last forever. He's like, no man, these are gonna be my brothers for life. Trust me. And I'm like, all right, you know. He told me he lost his virginity at 14. Like it was just, you know, you look at him, I just knew all the answers, like the shit that he was gonna say. You know what I mean? Just absolutely hilarious, you know, because these guys, listen, the reason why, you know, all the subhumans down, because everyone down there, it's over for. Like, there's one dude, his fucking teeth are rotting out of his fucking skull. Like, it's just so, it's disgusting, man. Like, these guys are literally, like, the lowest of the low, you know, including myself, you know, the lowest of the low. And, you know, they're all angry and shit. You know, this one dude, I want to say this shit real quick. This dude had a mini mental breakdown the other day, and I haven't laughed like this in the longest time. I can't remember the last time I laughed, but I had like an actual like belly laugh. Like this dude, he was trying to stack the boxes on top of the pallet. And if you don't know like the layout of it, I know it's like it's a basement, but it's like a warehouse too. Like it shouldn't, because I don't know, like when you think of warehouse, I usually think of like this huge like place. Like it's literally just a basement, like a huge basement. And basically this dude, like with like rows, like you just walk up and down the rows. No one really talks to each other, you know. Anyway, this guy, he's trying to stack the boxes and they keep like tipping over. And, you know, he's getting mad. He's like, fuck. You know, I'm just watching this guy. I'm just laughing my ass off. And all of a sudden he's like, fuck. And he grabs all the boxes, throws them on the whole row, throws them on the floor, starts fucking putting his foot through all of them, fucking punching them, elbowing them. And I'm fucking dying laughing. And then the dude, because if you break something, you don't have to pay for it because of the insurance. You know, if you accidentally break something, you don't have to pay for it. And this guy just fucking snapped for a minute. And then he goes upstairs, gets to the manager, and, you know, she comes downstairs and she goes, oh my God, how'd this happen? He goes, oh, I don't know. It just fell, and I guess the force from the boxes just made it get like this and completely shred it. And I was just fucking, I lost it because it was just the funny. He was trying to like, you know, make some excuse. I was just fucking laughing my ass off, you know. And yeah, like it's just absolutely brutal because there's so many people. Like, this is the thing. Everybody shit talks, you know, everybody. The people upstairs, the girls upstairs shit talk everybody downstairs. And the brutal part about it is that you hear it. They're so loud, you hear it. I don't think they know that we can hear them, but we can hear them. Everything they say, any stupid conversation they have, we can hear it all, every word. And they, you know, when I first got there, they shit talked me. I don't give a fuck, you know. I'm not gonna let, like, you know, them shit talking me. Like, I'm not gonna be a bitch about it and cry about it, you know. I don't care. But anyway, they hired this guy because this is the thing, like, the turnover rate is so, because these are like barbaric jobs, you know. These are very like what is it, like, I guess like the lowest of the low. Like, no one wants to work these jobs, but like people get unlucky and have to do them, you know. But yeah, they hired this guy who was literally the bottom percentile of fucking height. Like, I'm not even joking. This guy has to be no taller than 5 foot. You know, he's white, has this bald spot, you know, buzz cut. He basically looks like the Toy Story kid. Like, his head, he has like an alien shaped head, and he just looks like very, like, it's just over. Like, he lost like the genetic lottery. You know, and I know, like, this guy, he was nice too. This is the thing, like, they hired him last week. He's like been nice to us, you know, even though everyone is literally, it's so evil, man. The words can't describe how evil everybody is to this guy. You know, the girls upstairs laughing their asses off, making fun of this guy for being so short. For one of them even said, he told me that one of them said that one of their like little brothers is taller than him. Just absolutely evil shit, you know. And everybody knows he knows we're talking shit about him, because this is the thing, like, when people talk to each other, you can hear it, because like someone could be right behind you, you wouldn't know it, because, like, for example, the boxes are so high. I mean, there's two dudes there that are 6'6", like you could just see them like all the time, because like, you know, the boxes sometimes aren't stacked that high. You could see the top of their head. But I think the reason why short people don't last this job is because they physically can't do it. Like this guy, this is the thing, this is why they make fun of him, is because he carries around this ladder with him. Everywhere he goes, he takes forever because he doesn't possess the genes to do this job efficiently. You know, he has to use this ladder, get all the way up on it, take the shit down or put it up, whatever it is, taking forever. I don't have to use a ladder because I got lucky and I'm tall. Like, that's the only reason. And this guy, you know, he's unlucky, he has to use this ladder. And everyone's just so mean to this guy, man. Like, they don't directly... I mean, they might as well, because, listen, everybody knows he knows we talk shit about him. I don't say anything. I don't say a word. Like I said, I barely talk to people. It's usually just, like, small talk every now and then of just, like, some stupid shit. But, yeah, they're just so evil to this guy, man. You know, and it's sad, you know. I'm like, damn. But he's still, you know, still nice to us. Like, it doesn't seem like anything's going on at all. Even though, like, I know, like, this dude has literally... The world has kicked his dick and balls, you know, just kicked him in the nuts, you know, and he's fucked. Like, the world has done a number on him. Like, the world has literally just kicked him in the nuts, and it's just, the dude is just so fucked, man. Like, seriously, everyone just bullying him. Because, like, I almost forgot, like, that it's been, like, a while. Like, bullying ended after school for me. Like, I almost forgot, you know, like, I don't have to deal with this shit anymore, you know. But this guy, man, they're literally bullying this dude so badly, and he's like trying to like push through it, you know, still act all happy and nice, even though like I know like, yeah, this dude, he probably like cries himself to sleep, man. He has to. Like, there's no fucking way. I already knew his whole life story just by looking at the guy. Complete true self here. Like, it's just, you know, there's nothing he could do at all. Manager always yelling at him, oh, come on, go faster, you know. And when you get yelled at, if you've ever been in a job where you get yelled at, it makes you feel like shit, man. Like, it really does, you know. It makes you feel like complete shit. Alright, so anyway, basically it's just me and him in the basement tonight because they wanted me to show him how to close. And the people upstairs, 3 women cashiers around like early 20s, and the manager, who's also a woman, and basically me and him we're just standing there, and you know, out of nowhere, this guy, he says, I fucking hate everyone here and I hate everyone who shit talks me. And I was like, I haven't shit talked to you, dude. Like, I've never said anything. He goes, yeah, I know, but everyone else though. And then he started, like, his voice started trembling and shaking. He's like, you want to know how long it took me to get this job? Like he's talking like the fucking Joker. And I was like, how long? And he goes, 9 months. And I was like, because I was curious, like, why 9 months? And he goes, because no one else would call me back. Nobody would call me back except for this place. This is the only place that would hire me. And I was like, oh shit, me too. You know, same thing. I went months without a job because nobody would fucking hire me. You know, and he's like, every job I ever had, people treat me like fucking shit. And I was like, why? What happened in the other jobs? And he was telling me the most brutal shit. He said that he worked a job similar to this one. A bunch of shit fell on him. And, you know, his legs got crushed and everyone was like walking past him, didn't even care. He was there for like hours. I was like, damn, that's absolutely brutal, man, you know. And I was like, well, do you have like any dream jobs or, you know, goals you want to have? And he goes, there's one thing I want to do. I want to take a train to Times Square and light myself on fire. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, is this fucking dude for real? Like, what the hell? And he goes, all I do is just work, come home. I don't even make it to the door. Sometimes I fall asleep on the porch. And I was like, oh, fuck, you know, me too. Like, I fall asleep on the floor sometimes, you know, like, I can like relate to this dude. I was like, oh shit, me too. And I was like, do you live like by yourself? And I already knew the answer. Like, I knew he had no girlfriend. I know he had no friends, all that shit. And he goes, I live with my mom. And I was like, oh shit, me too. You know what I mean? Just like the resemblance is kind of funny. But, and keep in mind, this guy's 25 years old. I don't know if I said that or not. You know, massive bald spot, all that shit. It's not really massive. It's just like, what is it? Like, it's like, it's pretty bad. Like, it's like a patch of like, you know, bald in the back. But I asked, like, do you have any like friends and family and shit? And he goes, what are friends? Never had one. And he goes, you know, I asked him about the girlfriend thing. He's like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't know if he's ever had one before or not. I assume he never did, like, because I mean, come on. But anyway, he's like, man, you want to see something fun? And I was like, okay, because it was just fucking weird. I'm like, is this guy for real? Like, it's just the way he's talking. I'm like, what the hell happened to him? Like, seriously, I'm thinking, like, that's why I'm in shock, because I'm like, what happened to this guy? Like, oh, he's talking normal past week, all of a sudden he's like fucking crazy now. Like, his eyes are fucking big, and he pulls out his phone, starts showing me videos of people jumping out of windows and shit and like splatting on the floor. And I was just like uneasy as fuck, because like the dude, he's like, isn't this fun? This is how I want to go out. And I just felt like so uncomfortable and like uneasy. I'm like, what the fuck? You're like, what is this guy for real? And then he pulls out, we get like these like little utility knives, and he pulls it out and he goes, every time one of you guys talks about me, I'm gonna slice my arm to show you. And I'm like, whoa. Like, at this point, I'm like, this dude's fucking serious, man. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know what to say. I haven't been in a situation like this in a long fucking time. In a very, very long time. And he was basically telling me, he's like, I hear all of you talking shit about me, you know, all that stuff. He said that the manager's upstairs. Apparently the girl's upstairs and the manager, because they're like all together. Because they talk, all they do is talk, you know. We, like I said, we hear it. We hear when they shit talk us. You know, this guy knows that they're making fun of his height. You know, that he knows that these girls are making fun of him for being short, all that stuff. And he told me that apparently they made a bet of who is gonna, you know, last the longest and who's gonna bitch out and leave. You know, who's not gonna make it. And basically, these girls said that I was gonna be the one to make it, that I was confident, hardworking, and strong. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude, are you? Because I ain't no way they fucking said that shit. And I told him, there's no fucking way they said that shit. He's like, yes, they did. I do not tell lies. I do not lie. I do not gossip. I am an honest, hardworking human. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, that's literally what he said. And I'm like, it was just so fucking creepy and weird, you know, when he said that shit, you know, holding the knife. And he's literally fucking shaking. And he said, you want to know what they said about me? And I'm like, what? And basically they told each other that this guy, he's not going to make it, that he's too fucking short, that, you know, he's fucked. He's gonna leave. He's gonna be the first one to leave. He's barely gonna make it past a couple days. And he looks at me and he goes, everybody takes first place from me, including you. And he's fucking shaking, holding the knife, you know, in his fucking hand. And his eyes are fucking big, you know, just shaking. And I'm like, this guy's gonna go ER. What the fuck? You know, am I really getting, and like, what's going through, have you ever been into a fight before where like basically like that feeling where, what is it, like that nervousness? I thought like, okay, like, is this guy gonna like stab me and shit? Like, how can I overpower this guy? You know, am I gonna have to like white knight and protect these fucking women? Like, I don't even know what the fuck to do, you know, because I haven't been in a situation like this in forever. And because there's people, listen, when people snap like that, some people are really about it. Like, there's literally nothing stopping this guy from stabbing me. And I'm thinking, like, okay, can this guy reach my neck? You know, is his arm long enough to reach my neck? You know, is it going to be, like, unexpected? Like, is this guy, like, he's just sitting there, you know, shaking and looking at me. And, you know, I go, because I didn't want to, like, say anything, like, to, like, upset him. And then, like, you know what I mean? So I just go, I'm going to go take a piss. I'll be right back. You know, just very, like, calmly. I walked up the stairs. I told the manager, I was like, listen, like, because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I told her, like, this dude's having, like, a fucking mental breakdown down there. And, well, I told them all like that, because it's just, like, I told the cashiers and the lady, like, they all heard me say that shit. And they're like, what should we do? You know, are you sure? Like, and I'm like, yeah, like, he's fucking, like, shaking down there. He's holding the knife. I mean, I took that shit as a threat because it was fucking weird. You know, he probably thinks I'm like a fucking Giga Chad. I mean, I am compared to this dude. Any one of my subscribers standing next to this guy will look like Brad Pitt. Like, this guy just over. But yeah, this dude. So basically, I'm thinking, like, okay, I can't go into the bathroom because, like, if I go into the bathroom and he really wants to stab me, like, he'll be waiting outside and I'll be fucked, you know. And, like, keep in mind, like, a utility blade, yeah, it's, like, about, like, 1.5 inches. You could definitely, like, you know, cut someone with it, you know. So as I'm, like, saying this shit to, like, the manager, like, what they should do, all of a sudden you just hear shit, like, loud-ass, like, crashing noises. Like, he's basically destroying everything in the fucking basement, just fucking taking down all the boxes, just fucking taking the boxes down, like everything just comes down and it's just fucking crashing down, and I'm like, okay, like, is this guy gonna like come upstairs like in a rage with the knife? So I'm like standing at the stairs, you know. He comes upstairs, you know, it's been a couple of minutes. He came upstairs crying, and I just like, he didn't have the knife in his hand. He came upstairs crying, so I stood to the side, and the manager goes, "What did you do?" And he kept saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You know, he basically the fucking he got his anger out, and he was back to normal, and he's like, I'm sorry. And he regretted it, like, instantly. Like, he was, like, calmer. He just went back to normal, and she fucking went downstairs, and all you hear is, oh my God, what the fuck? And I don't even know what I don't know what the mess is. I don't know what he did. I left. I literally left when my shift ended, but anyway, she comes upstairs, starts yelling at this dude, get the fuck out of here. And I don't know if they called the police on this guy or not. I actually don't know. Because, you know, when she's yelling at him to get the fuck out, I just left because my shift was over. And that was the same time he came up the stairs. And, yeah, here I am now. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, I was like, what the fuck? I was just sitting in my car, and I was just like, that shit was fucking bizarre. Like, it was, seriously, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? The dude just snapped, you know? And he had been beaten down so badly that's the reason why. I mean, just, these people were just so mean to this dude, man. So, yeah, like I said, that shit, like, that's the first time some shit like that has ever happened, man. Like, you know, with that. But, yeah, this guy is fired, 100%. 100,000% he is fired. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been like a fucking weird night. I'm about to pass out. I don't know when I'm gonna upload this because I am just so fucking exhausted, man. I honestly understand him. Like, I really did. Like, he probably just wouldn't think so, you know. But because he pretty much described my life fucking perfectly, literally perfectly, for word. You know what I mean, when he was talking to me. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. It's been a fucking weird fucking day, man. But yeah, shit like this doesn't happen. Like, it really doesn't. Most of the dudes, they're like, just, you know, chill, I guess. You know, they just do their shit, and that's it. You know, all the subhumans do their work, and, you know, that's that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, today I wanted to talk about a period of time that I was bullied at work as a sub-5 male. So back in 2012, I was going to a university in the middle of nowhere. This town had one stoplight, a Walmart, one gas station, a towny bar, and a bar where all the college students went. I had worked at the lone gas station in town. This was a gas station that had about 24 gas pumps and sold a variety of food like pizza, hoagies, meatball sandwiches, tater tots, you name it. This was my third year of university, and I just got this job because I needed some money at the time. So after interviewing, I got the job. In this town, pretty much anyone with a pulse would be hired. This was like literally a town where cousins would marry their own cousins. I'm not even joking. It had that vibe to it, and it was like a real thing. I remember after the interview, the manager called me up about a day later, and he had asked me what size my uniform was. He then said quickly after, "Oh wait, I know you're definitely extra large," and then started chuckling. At the time, I was an extra large, so, you know, his guess was correct. And he was the person who interviewed me, so he could obviously see I was very much overweight. However, this uniform was like super, super baggy and made me look even like more enormous than I was at the time. At the time, I was around 300 pounds, and I was balding in like the Norwood 3, Norwood 4 range. I had like a massively receding hairline. It was probably like more like Norwood 4, to be honest. I still had like the center forelock, like that was pretty thick, but I just had this really bad receding hairline with like grown out hair. It was brutal to see old pictures. On the first day of training, the same manager had introduced me around to a few of the other workers. Most of the other workers were like college students or people who just lived in the town. The manager was a really funny guy, honestly, and he just liked to joke around with people. He wasn't really like a mean person, but he introduced me to the people that were working that night by my name, and then he followed up with, "Yeah, he just competed in The Biggest Loser." I kind of laughed it off. It was really my first day meeting everybody, and I mean, it was kind of a fitting joke. I was really overweight at the time, and I looked like I definitely could have been on The Biggest Loser. I really could have been on that show, to be honest. I would have fit right in at the time. He takes me to the other side of the store. There's like two sides of the store. There's like the cash register side, and then there's like the food side. So he takes me over to like the cashier side, and he introduces me by my name, and then he cracks another joke and he says, "He's on Megan's Law." And then he kind of like chuckles and laughs again. He had a very sick sense of humor, and when we went in the back, I pulled him aside and pretty much told him like, "Hey, I understand you're joking. You seem like a funny guy, but I'm not cool with a joke like that." He was kind of taken back, and he did actually apologize and said that he was only kidding. And I just kind of let it go. So that manager was also a bit on the heavier side. He definitely wasn't 300 pounds, but I guess he definitely had some heftiness to him. He was around 6'2" also, and he was fairly average looking for context on his looks. Looking back, I knew that he was just joking about like competing on The Biggest Loser or being on Megan's Law, but honestly, the fact that I was so overweight and like visibly balding really bad really like made those jokes kind of cut deep. At the time, I wasn't Blackpill aware, and when people crack jokes about someone's appearance, it's definitely brutal, and it makes you realize how unattractive traits like being overweight or balding really are. These unattractive traits, like people see them and they don't give off signs of good genetics. And after confronting the manager in a professional way, he still cracked jokes at me, but they weren't super demeaning towards me. He kind of cracked jokes at everybody, but I feel like he cracked more jokes towards me more of the time. Whenever someone comes at you with malicious jokes, something I've realized is like sometimes you need to laugh it off and just kind of take it on the chin. And other times, for certain jokes, like other times you do need to stand up for yourself. What I learned being unattractive at the time is that people will crack jokes at your expense a lot of the time to see how much you'll take. And sometimes, if it's like a super mean-spirited joke, you do need to kind of stand up for yourself kind of immediately. Otherwise, they're going to continue to do it. There's definitely a group mentality. And I think when if someone's like the unattractive person, I think some people, for whatever reason, they like to, continue like joking on that person and even bullying them to an extent. So you need to stand up for yourself at the end of the day. So about a week later, there was a college girl training me on my last day of training. I was about to put a pizza in the oven, and she yelled, "What are you doing?" It was like a sausage pizza, and I forgot to put the sausages on it. But the thing was, it was like a very angry, like sharp-pitched yell. It definitely got people's attention because I remember there was one other person like working in our section, and they were like frazzled by this. And then I remember the cashiers like looking over in our direction, and there was like a line of people at the cashier's stand, and like everyone just like turned and looked. And it was like really it's kind of embarrassing when something like that happens. She then said, "You have to put the sausages on it. What the heck are you doing?" Yeah, she then like took the sausages and literally like plopped them down on this pizza like really hard. And then she put it in the oven. She slammed the oven shut. Like it was a really hard like slam. I've never seen something like this happen before. And she then looked back at me and she gave me this like really dirty look of like complete disgust and anger. And then she immediately like took her gloves off and like kind of like ran into the back pretty much. Like kind of like walked really aggressively into the back of the place. And it was just like she made a whole scene over like me forgetting to put sausages on the pizza. It was crazy to deal with. A few minutes later, I actually head to the back because I needed to grab something, and I overhear her telling the manager, "He keeps messing up. He's like so slow with making sandwiches. Like, I hate working with him. Like, please don't put me on the same schedule with him. Like, seriously." Like, I heard this. Like, she even like looked back like while I was like getting what I needed. And to be honest, like, I honestly like hated making sandwiches, and like I preferred to work on the register. I told the manager at the time that I wanted to work at the register, even though like, working on the register was also brutal, but it really wasn't as bad as like this super fast-paced environment where like you're constantly making like these meatball sandwiches, throwing pizzas in the oven, making Zeps, making hoagies. Like there was so many, like this gas station sold such a variety of food that like it was really hard to like keep track of everything. I honestly, like, that was the worst job I've ever had in my life. And, thank God I only worked there for like 4 months. It was super brutal. I remember that I had to walk a pretty far distance. Like my apartment was about like a mile away from the gas station. So after that shift, I realized that I really hated this job, and I did not know how long I was going to last. And walking back after my shifts to my apartment were like some of the loneliest, like depressing walks I've ever been on. Like I was like 21 at the time, and I really had no idea like what direction my life was going. And it was just really brutal. And then at the time I was like so out of breath too. Even just like walking a mile back to my apartment was just so really, really hard to do, to put it lightly. So a few weeks later, I was in the back in one of the offices eating before my shift with the door closed. And I hear the same girl who yelled at me for the pizza talking to another girl. She had asked, like, "Who are we working with tonight?" And, she said my name, and the girl asked, "Oh, is that the big fat guy?" She then replies back saying, yeah, he's got the weird haircut too, and that she hates working with me. And she started telling the girl about like the pizza and how I'm like really slow on sandwiches, and just like talking about that for like 10 minutes straight. And she, like I said, she just kept on saying he doesn't know how to do anything. Like it's going to be like a long night. When you're overweight and balding, or you have any sort of like unattractive trait, especially in the workplace, you have the Phalo effect going against you. Any mistake that you make is going to be criticized, and it's going to be amplified. When you're unattractive, you really need to be much better at your job to get like any sort of respect sometimes. I hate that, that's the way it is. Like I try to treat people equally. I try to treat people the same, show respect, to people, and you really try to judge them on their character. But that's kind of the way it is when you're unattractive. You really have to be on the ball at work. You can't be, messing up sandwiches and messing up pizzas, and you just don't have that liberty as like someone who's more conventionally attractive. In regards to the haircut comment, at this location we didn't wear hats. So at the time, I had a really bad receding hairline, as I mentioned, and my crown was even starting to thin. The way I tried to combat this is I tried to grow out my hair in like my mid scalp and crown to try to like cover the receding hairline, but it just did not work, and it looked super sparse. And like the sides of my hair were like grown out even longer. Like looking back at old pictures, like I really look like, the clown from It. I had no clue about finasteride or Rogaine or like Topic or anything related to like improving the look of your hair. This definitely hurt, but I tried to shrug it off. About midway through the shift, the same girl, told me that I need to take out the trash and sweep the floor of the store. I just really wasn't having it that night, and I told her that I wasn't assigned to do that. She then replies back saying, well, you suck at sandwiches and we're really backed up, so you really just need to do it. She had like a huge like scowl look on her face, and I honestly needed a little bit of fresh air, so it really wasn't like the worst thing in the world. So I begrudgingly went outside to take the trash from like the bins near the gas pumps. And honestly, like taking out the trash, like particularly for this job at this gas station, it almost like felt freeing to like not be in the store. Because I'm telling you, like when you're making this food, you're around all these ovens, and you know you're wearing these like baggy uniforms, like you're like sweating hot, and you can like barely breathe sometimes. So I like took my good old time like with these trash bins. I don't know. I guess the store was getting busy that night, and the girl came outside and yelled, "Get back in here. You're just taking so long. Like, what's taking so long?" I kind of had at this point, and I yelled back. Like, there was like even customers like near her, and I was like, you know, mind your own business. Like, I'm taking my time. Like, just go back inside. So like while I was sweeping, she kept telling me to hurry up. I was sleeping in like an area that was a little bit away from where the customers would get, you know, kind of pick up their orders. And she just kept telling me to hurry up, and she was just talking a bunch of crap to the other girl that was with us. I just kept ignoring her, and I didn't even tell her that my shift was over. And once I was done like sweeping the floor, I just like threw my gloves in the trash can and just walked out. You know, normally, like, you know, when you're ending a shift, you usually, you know, tell people you're out for the day. But with this amount of disrespect, I just walked out. So the last part of it came to like when I came in a few days later, the other manager calls me into the office and basically says, so I want to talk to you. I hear you're not being a team player. Tell me about that. You know, walking into work that day, just like walking in, I was really at the point where I was really contemplating quitting. And I was just really not in a good mood that day, just for, you know, how I was being treated pretty much every time I went into that job. You know, I then asked him like what he meant by that. I really just didn't want to hear it. And he comes back with, well, I'm hearing a number of complaints from different people that you're not doing your job correctly. You're messing up orders and you're being really negative. To be honest, like I was a pretty positive person, especially at the start until I started being mistreated constantly. You know, for context, the girl was pretty average looking. Surprisingly enough, she was a little bit on the overweight side. And she was really nothing special looks wise. You know, she just like viewed me as below her because at the time I was really overweight, and my haircut, like I can't tell you like how bad it looked. Like it really looked like I was balding really bad, just of the way I grew out the sides and tried to comb it over. It was just like my appearance was like at the worst it's ever been in my entire life. But, you know, I told my manager my side of the story, and, you know, he said, okay, well, here's your options, bud. He literally said that, you know, when someone calls you bud, especially if it's like a manager or someone that's like higher than you, it's really like, having worked in the corporate world for many years, it's really like a way for that person to try to show dominance, like subtly. And right when he said that, like I mentally checked out, and I was like, I'm done. You know, I basically tell him like, yeah, I think I'm done. You know, I don't want to work at a place like this. And yeah, it was nice working with you. You know, I basically just took off my gloves and, you know, gave him my badge and pretty much just walked out. I remember on the way out, he was telling me like, please come back and like give me your uniform. And I just completely ignored him. It honestly felt good to walk home that day. You know, more of the story, when you're unattractive, you have to be prepared that you're going to be mistreated in a lot of workplaces, especially if it's like, if you're working you know, in fast food, or you're working in, you know, some sort of like, you know, gas station, or like lower skilled type job, but even in like corporate America, or if you're like a laborer, you're gonna deal with you're gonna deal with negative comments. You're gonna deal with subtle jabs, and you need to just go in there with the mindset of you need to stand up for yourself. And if you're dealing with a very toxic workplace, especially if you're someone that's very unattractive, sometimes quitting and getting out of that situation is, ultimately what's best. In a future video, I will talk about my experience with the halo effect in the workplace after losing over 120 pounds and getting 2 hair transplants. It's really interesting, my experience over the past many years, like working in corporate America. You can, in being much more attractive, I really look back to that year of those couple months of working at this gas station, and it's like a completely night and day experience. And really the only difference in if you're treated positively or you're treated negatively ultimately really comes down to your looks. Obviously, like, how you do your job at your skill set, obviously that ultimately matters, and, how you're judged from like your manager's perspective, but how people treat you in the workplace a lot of the times is, I would say, about like 80 to 90% correlated with how you specifically look. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, feel free to subscribe, and comment down below any bullying you ever experienced in the workplace. Until next time, take care.
As many of you are still unsure where you sit in terms of attractiveness, I will go over the key experiences each tier will come across. This time is sub 5. Yes, it's not a tier anyone wants to be in, but by being honest with yourself, you can better set up your ability to improve rather than being ignorant. Similarly to Chads, sub 5s will experience a lot of looks in public. However, it differs in the expressions. Women will generally show signs of disgust at your appearance, and men will usually find it comical. People will avoid interacting with you, and if forced to, will keep interactions extremely vague and brief. Furthermore, you have never been popular, whether at school or at work. Sub 5s generally adopt more of a wallflower persona, and are never usually the person everyone wants to be around. The only time you get lots of attention is usually gesture maxing at your own expense. Multiple studies have shown people are far less likely to sit next to unattractive people on public transport. One thing Chads often get is people randomly sitting very close to them when there is a lot of space. Whereas if you're a sub 5, you may notice it seems as if people are avoiding being in your proximity when they have a choice. This again is very noticeable on public transport. Next is a huge sign, and that is kids commenting on your appearance, whether they call you funny-looking or literally run in fear at the sight of your face. This is because children have yet to develop full understanding on what is acceptable to say, and thus are more honest in this regard, as they have no social filter. This is even worse if babies cry after making eye contact with you. Then you are almost certainly a sub 5. Another one is that people have an issue with almost everything you do. You could literally do the same thing someone else does, yet get an extremely different reaction. As you know, the halo effect, well, there is the sub 5 equivalent called the phalo effect, in which almost every action you do is perceived as worse than it is. Confidence for arrogance, humor for rudeness, and so on. This is extremely noticeable when around women or attractive men. You will notice they are able to say and do things that you could never do. Finally, and most obviously, is you get no bitches. Now, this doesn't just mean you can get girls, it means your interactions with women often involves being ignored, rejected, even if you aren't trying to make an advance. And finally, if you do get a relationship, there are so many expectations placed upon you. If you have ever seen an ick list, it's important to understand these do not apply to attractive men. Women will break their own rules for Chads, but for a sub 5, you must meet every other expectation and compensate in many ways. An attractive man can have nothing but his looks and will still get as much and more than a sub 5 with everything but looks. Now, why is it important to know these signs? The main reason is so you're not delusional, and instead are aware you are a sub 5, and then using this information look to improve. I believe most sub 5s are actually not natural sub 5s, and can at least reach normie tiers, which is infinitely better quality of life, and will drastically improve every aspect. But this is only possible if you are not delusional and are self-aware. So if these signs fit you, please start improving in whatever way you can, and I promise you will thank yourself for it.
Alright, today I want to talk about why the age pill is so brutal and why dating when you get older just sucks if you have no experience. If you have had zero experience with women, you have never been intimate, close, none of that, dating as you get older will be hell. Because, although I'm young, I see that, it's so weird, any female I've ever talked to, overheard, because usually, I'll listen to people, talking and stuff because I got nothing better to do, whether it be in school. Those are mostly in school, especially in college. I had this psychology class my first year, and I would always get there super early because I had this thought. I was like, oh, I'm going to show the teacher I really care. I'm going to show up early to make him know that I care about the class and that I'm eager to learn. It's just, whatever. But that's the way I used to think. I used to be oh, I'm going to make sure he knows I care about the class. I'm going to give it my all. And I would show up early, and these two girls would sit behind me. They would show up early, too. And all they would do is just complain about their ex-boyfriends. That's all they would do is complain about their ex-boyfriends. And it seems to me, teen love, I think that's the most important thing. If you miss out on that, you're missing out on a huge development stage. Because I notice, when the whole talk of their exes, first off, it seems like, anyone you date, it seems like their exes will just live in their heads rent-free. They'll bring it up. They'll be like, oh, I remember my ex did this to me. Thank God you're not like that, and stuff like that. I hear people talk about that shit all the time. I had a friend who broke up with his girlfriend because she wouldn't stop complaining about her ex, and it's just seems like it's just rent-free for them. And that newness phase of the whole, the whole teen love thing, it's just gone. It is just completely gone. And the brutal part about teen love is you can't make that up. Once you're past a certain age, you can't go back. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't have a time machine, go back to high school, be a kid again. You can't do that. You can't. It's impossible. And you can't make up for it too. I think college is because, I used to think because I had, at the time, I had friends who got their first relationships when they were 18, 19, and I was thinking maybe there's a girl out there who's never dated before, and she's gonna love me for who I am. And no, there wasn't that. And it also blows my mind too, because like I just said, it seems like every female I've talked to, known, any of that, it seems like they've all had boyfriends or have them currently. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, because I know there are so many guys who are like me, who are in my shoes, who have never, ever dated, never had a relationship before. It's how does that even happen? How come there are so many men who are virgins, like myself, virgins, never done anything, never dated? But it seems like almost every female I encounter has had a relationship before. It's are they dating the same guys? It just doesn't make any sense. Has this one guy dated 5 girls while you just sit there and get nothing? Is that how it works? Because I notice that all the time. I was thinking about that the other day. How come most females have had boyfriends or have them, but so many men just have never fucking dated? It's because I think, it's the same guys. The same guys are dating all these girls, you know, like the top 30%, maybe top 20% are dating all these girls, you know, while you're just kind of, you know, sitting there left with like nothing. But yeah, the teen love pill, man. You know, college is probably the savior. If it goes past college, like, ooh, I don't know about that. It's gonna be rough. You know, dating for the first time. Like, can you imagine going on your first date at 40? This is like the problem, like I said, with dating when you get older. It's the fact that the reasons are different too. Because, you know, when you're young, it's like, oh, I love you so much. It's like innocent type of shit. You know, you're both new to it, and the reasoning is going to be different. You know, imagine going on your first date when you're 40, you're going to hear, oh, I'm just looking for a man to take care of me and my son. It's just going to be, you know, the reasoning is going to be different. You know, and like I said, the newness phase, the newness can't come back. Because like I said, like how many times have you played a sport, done a hobby, maybe even watched a movie, played a game, for the first time you thought it was fucking amazing, you loved it, it was so good, it was fun, and then after a while, it's just dies down. It becomes like you kind of have to like tolerate it. It's like meh, you know. And the brutal part about the age pill, you know, as you get older, is your looks fade. You know, whether you like it or not. If you're not taking care of yourself, well, looks will fade regardless. But most of these guys, you know, if you're old, you're sub 5, just by default, because most of these guys they just let themselves go. You know. The Norwood Reaper, it's like 1 out of every 4 men by the age of 30 experience some sort of hair loss. By the time you're 50, more than half of these dudes, the Norwood Reaper just stole their hairlines. You know, like you can look really good. You can, you know, looks max, gym, look super good, but the age pill always collects. You know, like I said, Norwood Reaper might come and steal your hairline. You know, the wrinkles may come. You might have health problems. That would probably suck. I'm noticing that more and more. It seems like people are in their 30s and 40s having these tremendous amounts of health problems, and I'm just like, that's not even that far away, you know, from me. You know, because like, first off, if I could go through 2 decades and a year and a half, it felt like I fucking blinked, I can definitely do another one of those, you know. And then I'll have to deal with all these problems. On top of that, looking like garbage too. Like, so when people say, like, hey, you know, things get better, you'll be a high-value man when you're 30 and 40. Like, I always say this where when you ask anyone who's old, you know, when was... And I'm sure, like, maybe a couple of them will say, like, oh, my 30s and 40s were the best time in my life. Maybe. But you ask them, like, hey, when was the best time in your life? They'll be like, oh, I remember when I was 16 years old and I dated little Susie. It was the best time in my life. I had so much fun. They're not going to say, like, you know, oh, when I was 40, it was the best time of my life. Like, chances are they're not going to say that. That's why, like I said, the teen love, missing out on these experiences when you're younger. Because right now I have no experience. You know, right now, like, I am legitimately at rock bottom in my life. I am at the lowest low in my life that I've probably ever been. At this moment, the only person in my text messages, the only person I have as my contact is my mom. That's it. That's the only person. The only text message I have in my phone is my mom. And the only person I talk to is myself and her. I spend most days in my head just talking to myself, whether it be on here, you know, with a microphone, but, you know, in the shower, I'll talk to myself. In bed, I'll talk to myself, you know, late at night. And I don't talk to anybody anymore. You know, aside from, like, replying to comments and shit, like, texting, that's it. I haven't, like, voice-to-voice talked to somebody, like, in a while. You know. And that's just how I've been living. Like, I haven't had, like, a face-to-face, especially... like conversation in a very long time. And if it is, usually just small talk that doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not evolving at all, mentally or like any of that. Like, I'm just not evolving. And I don't think people understand when you are this fucking low in your life. You don't understand. Like, people think it's like so easy to date. It's not. It's so difficult to date. You know? When you're at this low, there's like really nothing you can do, you know. oh, just, you know, stop worrying about dating, bro, and just wait till she comes around, man. You know, there's someone out there for you, bro. Uh-huh. But, I mean, yeah. Who knows? Maybe the day I get my shit together, it'll be too late. Like, maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll be money maxed, I'll have my shit together mentally, and, you know, physically I'll look better. Probably not at all. You know, that's the part, you know, the problem about being sub 5 when you're young. When you're older, the age pill will amplify that. So if you're like a 4 out of 10 in your 20s, by the time you're 40, you'll probably be like a 2 out of 10. You know, I can't really think of many dudes. I can think of some examples where guys like look better in their 40s than they were in their 20s, but like it's pretty rare. I don't really see that much. But yeah, it's just dating when you're older. Like I said, the newness experience, you know, it's gone. The reasons are different. And imagine I go on my first date and like I tell her like, hey, I've never dated before, never had a girlfriend before. That's going to be the biggest turn off in the world. Because chances are, guys, like anyone I'm going to date in the future, if I even will date, will have had a boyfriend in the past. Because I keep thinking like, oh, maybe, you know, since I'm 21, there's going to be a girl who, you know, she's my age and she's never dated too. It's like, no. Like, even if she's out there, which she probably is, what makes you think, like, you know, she's going to like me, I'm going to find her? It's just, like, such a blue-pilled way of thinking, man. Like, dating is just, it just sucks in general, I think. You know, but like I said, having zero experience, it's just a death sentence. And you can't make up for those lost experiences, you know, when you were younger. Because at the moment, all I have is bad nostalgia, a bad present, and it seems like a bad future. And it sucks. It really does. But, I mean, yeah. Dating when you're older with no experience, that must be rough. I don't know. Like, I just can't even imagine going on your first date at 30 years old. Like, oh, I put in lots of work. I got a high-paying job. I deserve this. I went to school for years. I'm a hardworking man. I deserve this. I'm a good man. Like, no one's guaranteed shit, you know. Just because you put in hard work doesn't mean you're guaranteed shit. That's what sucks. But, yeah, that's pretty much it.
You know it never began when you're getting mogged by a damn stud, man. I just picked up a Uber order, and as I was waiting for it, this LGBT couple came in, and it's like these two Asian people, and it's like this chubby Asian stud, and she's got this cute like kawaii fit looking Asian girl, and it's just like, man, that's brutal, dude. You know, I don't care what what any man says, you know. Even though I know it never began, it will never sit right with me when I get mocked. Like, it just hurts, man. It's just pathetic, you know. Getting mocked is just, you know, you're in an inferior position when you get mocked, you know. And it's like these couples know, you know, that they're mogging you. It's like they enjoy the mogging you, you know. That's what it genuinely feels like. Like, right now, before I got over here as well, there was another, like, when I finally had gotten the order, there was, like, another couple standing next to my car, bro. Like, they were, like, literally, like, damn near, like, within opening door distance of my car. And it's just, like, as soon as I started walking towards my car, they started, like, hugging, and they started, like, you know, doing all this stuff. And it's just, like, I don't care what any man says, you know, as a man who craves and desires women and relationships and sex, you know, it will never sit right with me to get mogged, you know. It just, you know, like right now I'm dropping, I had to record, you know, I have the order sitting right here in the hot bag, and just seeing all these couples, really, it's making me want to go home, you know? And, you know, it just, this type of stuff just makes me want to go home, you know? It really does. Like, I just hate being poor, man. I wish I was rich. You know, if I was rich, I would never leave the house, because every time I leave the house, it's just to get mogged. It's just to get shit on. It's just to be put in an inferior position, you know? It's just never gonna sit right with me to get mogged. Like, I'm a hater, you know? Fuck it. I'll admit it, I'm a hater. Yeah, I do get upset when I see men with beautiful women, and I'm not gonna lie, it does even trigger me even more when I see a stud with a woman, because it's like, it's not even natural, you know? That's not even natural. And it's like, these women would rather choose to be with some fucking fellow vagina than to be with men like me, you know? And you know, I don't want to sound too bitter, I don't want to sound too angry and distraught and angry at life, but yeah, it does hurt, man. It does hurt. And you know, it'll never sit right with me to get mogged, especially by a stud like that. Just, you know, that really does make me Arthur Fist, you know. It just makes me a little angry, because it's like, I'm a man, you know. I'm a man with a cock and balls, and you know, they'd rather choose to be with someone else. And not, you know, this is nothing against the community, this is just overall. Whether it was another guy with that girl holding her, it would angered me equally, you know. And it's just like, man, what's the point sometimes, man? You know, like, I've been asking this question to myself a lot. What's the point? You know, what is the point of just going on through life, you know, fighting, taking your licks, when, you know, you can't even get a woman, dude. Like, you know, this stud literally looked like a fucking sumo wrestler, bro. And people will say it's about being fat. How are you going to say it's about being fat when there's a skinny, petite, kawaii girl who would date a fat stud? You know, that's why I don't subscribe to any of that bullshit anymore. I don't even, you know, when people say, like, when people give you advice, like, oh, you just got to lean max, bro. It's like, all right, how come that fat stud doesn't have to lean max? It's just, I'm undesirable. You know, it doesn't even matter what men like me do. You know, we could do everything. You know, we could fucking bring the moon to the earth. You know, we still wouldn't get no pussy, man. You know, it's never gonna sit right with me to get mogged, man. You know, I'm out here, you know, just trying to make my bread, you know, trying to make my daily bread. And, you know, it's like, you can't even go outside without being reminded of how inferior you are, you know, how undesirable you are. You know, at this point, like I said, man, I wish I was rich. That way I wouldn't have to leave the house. That way I wouldn't see this type of things. I wouldn't see these type of things, and I wouldn't expose myself to feeling these type of emotions, because it does hurt, man. It does hurt a lot when, you know, it's a Friday night. Everyone out there is having fun. Everyone out there is doing social things with their partners, and, you know, people who don't have partners at least have friend groups. And, you know, let's be real, most people have somebody they're talking to. You know, men like us are rare. You know, you'll get all this bull crap about stats, like, oh, the University of Stanford did a research that 80% of men are lonely and single. It's like, that's bull crap, dude. Every man I see around me has someone. You know, like I said, there's even enough women to go around for the studs. You know, it's just something about me. It's something about men like me that we're just not desired one bit, bro. And we're just forced to watch, man. We're just forced to watch women choose other people. I'm not even going to say other men. They're choosing other people. You know, they're choosing whatever the heck it is they want. You know, and it's not funny, dude. It's not funny, man. It's really not funny. You know, like, sometimes, bro, when you're just trying to find a reason to live, and you're just trying to find a reason to keep going, and you're trying to find a reason to keep fighting, and then you see a woman with a fat Asian stud, man. You know, no, nothing against, you know, fat Asian studs. I'm just saying, like, that's getting picked nowadays before men like me. You know, even chubby Asian American LGBTQ members are getting pussy before me. You know, and that's just a joke. You know, that's a joke, man. It's just, you know, I don't believe anything anyone says. You know, when it comes down to self-improvement, when it comes down to women want you to be at a certain level, I don't believe any of that bullcrap, man, because women will choose and fuck anything that it's just not us, you know? And, you know, it's never gonna sit right with me getting mogged. I'm a man. I want a woman. I wish I was the one that was going out on Friday nights to go eat or to go enjoy, you know, time with my significant other, but I don't have that. That's never been an option for me. And I have to sit here while working, while wage slaving, and be witness to even, you know, studs getting some women. And it's like, wow, you know, like it's, you know, people will say like, oh, there's too many men. There's too many men on the earth. We need a world war. We need a great reset. It's like, that's all bullcrap, dude. There's plenty of women to go around. It's just they don't like us. Like, I don't even know how to explain it anymore. It's just a me thing, you know? Because, like, I could easily, like, start talking to that Asian stud and be like, oh, you know, how do you get girls? And, you know, she'd probably tell me, like, oh, be confident. You know, it's all about, you know, the motion of the ocean. And it's like, you know, like, it's just bullcrap, you know? You know, it's never going to sit right with me to get mogged. It's never going to sit right with me to just have to sit there and witness and be put in these inferior positions. And, you know, it's just so unfair how so many men like me, like, I mean, I wouldn't even say so many, you know. I mean, I guess so many in the sense of, like, worldwide. But, you know, it's like every man around here, including studs and members of the LGBTQ, they have no hardships getting women, man. You know, it's just something about me. I'm just cursed. I'm just so hideous, or I wouldn't even say I'm so hideous at this freaking point. It's just something about me. I'm just cursed, man. The curse of the Blackpill, man. It follows me, man. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling real bitter right now. You know, 11:55 p.m. People out and about having fun, you know, with their girlfriends, and then there's me, just a fucking lonely Uber driver delivering food to people, you know, with no hope, with nothing beautiful to look forward to, with no woman, you know, waiting for me at home, no nothing, just a loser, you know. But whatever. Damn, man. These mogs have been off the chart lately, man. I just dropped the order off. It's literally fucking 12:36 a.m. midnight right now, right? And I just dropped off an order over here near, like, Manhattan Beach. You know, a nice area, high class area. Well, actually, no. Correction. El Segundo. There's this place called El Segundo, and it's near the beach. It's got a nice, nice high class area or whatever. I don't really like this area too much because the cops are kind of racist, and, you know, I've been pulled over a few times around here. But, like, I finished dropping off an order, and there's a spot where you could, like, overlook LAX, the airport. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some footage. I'm gonna get some background footage for the videos. And, you know, I'm gonna just chill there for a few minutes, kind of, you know, take my mind off of all this stuff. And as I'm pulling up, I see nothing but couples. I literally see, like, 6 couples. And they're all, like, in their own little area, and they're all cuddling, they're all hugging, and they're all, like, you know, being passionate with one another. And that was enough to just make me, that was enough to make me hit a U-turn and head home, you know, because, you know, damn, these mogs, you know, like just seeing all those couples hugging up like that, and then why would I even get off? You know, why the heck would I even get off? Just to look ridiculous, just to look cringy, you know? And it's just it's ridiculous, man, how as a single man you can't help but feel awkward. You can't help but feel like you don't fit in. You know, people will say like, oh, you're just supposed to, you know, don't mind them, they're doing their own thing. You know, tell that to yourself, man. You know, it's extremely uncomfortable to be around couples. You know, all I simply wanted to do was get a little bit of background footage for the videos. And I couldn't even do that, man, because there was like, I'm telling you, there was like 6 couples, and they were all like in their own little world doing their thing. And, you know, if I was to get off just there, you know, just a single guy, it would just feel very awkward. And, you know, I just can't help but just feel mogged, you know? I can't help but feel like I just don't fit in anywhere, you know? Like, having a girlfriend is like an all-access pass, you know? When you have a girlfriend, everybody treats you nicer, man. I'm sure even the police, man. I'm sure even the goddamn police would be nicer to you if you got a girl on your side, you know? Like, right now, I'm telling y'all, I was, you know, it was just me by myself, and I just felt so, like, awkward, dude. Like, I didn't even get off, man. I just hit a U-turn and just, you know, I'm on the freeway right now. And, it's just brutal, dude. Brutal, man. Brutal. How is a ugly man, or a single guy even, just single, man. You know, you just stick out like a sore thumb, man. Everywhere you go, you stick out like a goddamn sore thumb. And, you know, right now was not the exception. Even at midnight, bro. Even at midnight, damn near 1 a.m., wherever I decide to go, I'm still sticking out like a sore thumb. You know, it's like us unwanted men, we get no hour of the day for us. You know, that people will tell you like, oh, just go out at night. Look at this. Look at what just happened to me. You know, I tried to go get some background footage, get some fresh air, and I couldn't even get off, bro, because of so many couples just mogging me into oblivion. That, you know, us men, us undesirable men, we have no time. We have no hour. Like, you know, we can't even, you know, we can't go eat breakfast. We can't go eat lunch or dinner, man. Because everywhere we go, we get mogged. Everywhere we go, we get couples and shit, you know? And, it just ain't it, man. It just ain't it, bro. Like, I just got a request right now. You know, there's a part of me that just doesn't even want to do anymore. Like, that kind of just drained my battery. Like, dude, I'm over here grinding like a slave, you know, or not even like a slave, just grinding like any average individual. And, you know, meanwhile, those people are enjoying their heavenly lives, you know? And, you know, that's the type of shit that makes me just want to go home, man. Not gonna lie, man. That's the type of shit that be making me want to go home, bruh.
It's over!
You're skinny, and I don't think you're my type, really. Fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Ooh, the blow. The low blow.
Today we are gonna talk about not copes and delusions, but what causes them. I said I would make a standalone video on this topic, 4 human nature traits that all copes stem from. Sigmund Freud categorized human behavior into 2 sections, life and death instincts. This is his dual instinct theory. He had a theory that humans had an innate urge to try to return to their unalive, inorganic state, and that a lot of our destructive behavior is stemming from that. According to this theory, these 2 forces, life and death, balance out each other. But he forgot one thing. there is another major instinct that he didn't mention, and that is the cope instinct. Coping reflex in humans is just as strong as life and death. I am convinced of this. And Freud was someone who got a lot of stuff correct. He was a determinist, and as a genetic determinist myself, I actually agree with him on a lot of stuff. Freud knew that it was the experiences, traumas that we experience during our formative years that shape our personality and determine who we are going to end up eventually as a grown-up. Unlike that copper, Alfred Adler, he was big on the cause and effect. He was again very big on genetic determinism. He has that famous line that I love. Anatomy is destiny. Such a simple line, but straight to the point. But one thing he really underestimated is the coping instinct of humans, which I believe to be just as strong as life and death. But to be fair to Freud, it was a completely different social landscape in his time. The dude was born 200 years ago. Life was different. I am sure if he lived now, if you showed him some Richard Cooper and Hammerhand videos, he would have changed his entire psychoanalysis and included the cope instinct as well. He would be like, what is this cope, bro? What am I watching?
Just do the work, right? Put in the reps. I would join a dojo, learn how to be lethal. You're going to be like, shut up, I got other options. If you don't like it, I'll just call up so-and-so, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to take feedback.
Yeah. I want you to do the work. I want you to come back in a year with Jack tan and juicy as fuck with a nice ass beard and be like, yo, Rich, you're right, man.
But what causes these copes? What are the main driving forces behind them? Today we are going to talk about this. The third instinct. There are 4 main branches of this. 4 main driving forces. So you spot a cope, track the cause, the origin of any cope, and you will run into one of these 4.
Be in your thoughts. Ask yourself, why is it that you do what you do? Ask yourself, why do you wake up in the morning and do what you do?
The realistic answer to this question for the vast majority of people is to just pay the bills and put food on the table. That is the reason. That is the why for the vast majority of people. And if this why sucks, so will your willpower to keep going in life. So the first and most important, the strongest one, is people's innate reflex to make their suffering mean something. Having a why is so important in life, man. Because when you look at the average dude's life, it is just mostly suffering. Especially for the older ones. If you are a millennial, for example, the novelty of life has worn out. Life has become repetitive. You are at a point in your life where it feels like, not even feels like, there is a palpable sense of reality sinking in. This is how your life is going to be like. All those hardships, all that stuff you had to put up with meant nothing. And there is absolutely no sense, no reason to it. For no reason at all. That is the most brutal part of it.
Du skal bare vide op dit syge lille hoved, ikke? At det er Gud. Djævlen har ikke brugt så meget som 2 sekunder på dig. Men du er bare så tykhoved, at du ikke kan fatte det.
For Zoomers, younger side of Zoomers, these days even a 28, 29-year-old dude can be a Zoomer, which is another brutal time pill. I was talking about this with a friend of mine from the community the other day. In only 2 years, there will be 30 plus Zoomers that are older than 30 years old. Time pill is so brutal, man. Soon the term Zoomer is gonna be a derogatory term like Boomer. If that ain't a brutal time pill, I don't know what is. But for early Zoomers, 18, 19 years old, life is still full of new stuff. You don't have a lot of responsibilities. Stuff you experience them for the first time. You still have that hope, that mental energy, physical energy, spiritual energy. Hope, you have that hope. You haven't been robbed of all that yet. You still somehow think, no matter how much the odds are against you, that you are gonna make it. I was one of them. Life had different plans in mind for me. You know the saying, that famous line, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Life is exactly like that. Everybody has a plan until the BP hits them, until the Reaper stares them right in the eye. Brutal stuff, bro. Guys, I was a different man. You should have seen me in my freshman year in college. For real, I was a different man. Mentality-wise, of course. I wish I could say the same for looks-wise, I was coping so hard. Coping reflex is just so deeply ingrained in human DNA. It is really hard. It takes conscious reflection and introspection, which I was forced to do, unfortunately. I had hopes, doing stuff, being proactive, full of life energy. I would have laughed in your face if I heard about that lookism stuff. Life had different plans for me. Now I am making these videos. But the point I am trying to make is this. I am saying this because Zoomers in this community still act like life is gonna stay this way forever. Or things gonna figure themselves out.
It's not gonna get better for you. So you got a lot of delusional people who will tell you that things in your life will look up, God will work it out. Especially those religious people. That's why I say I cannot stand religious people. Hell, Satan. If you've been catching hell all your life, you done had a lot of problems in life, you've had a lot of challenges in life, nothing is going to get better for you. Things are going to get worse. Sometimes things don't get better, things get worse.
It is gonna be much worse when you start working, because most people work a oofy-doofy job, repetitive, boring job to pay for mortgages and put food on the table. That is the reality for the majority of adults. A lot of people's lives exist of going to work, literally. Like, when you get off work, you barely have time or energy for anything else. These people realize at the end of the day that their suffering is just meaningless. And it is very difficult to cope with that feeling, to come to terms with that feeling. You go to some job that you couldn't care less about and repeat it over and over again for the next 30 years. That is why a lot of people are turning to co-ops, whatever it is. The co-op of leaving behind a better world, volunteering and stuff, to feel like their lives mean something. You have people having kids just to have a why in their lives. They think they work for their children, but it is usually the other way around. They are having children to keep working, to be able to keep going in life. People always put the cart before the horse with this one. A lot of people don't really have children because they are ready, but to simply have a why in their lives, to keep going. They have children for the selfish reasons, even if they claim otherwise. To think that, I have people depending on me, I gotta keep doing this. They are trying to play it off like they are being selfless. But in reality, they had children for themselves. Behind all that charade, you will see that it is the self-centerism and egoism that led them to having children and force their pitiful oofy-doofy lives on another human, another innocent human. Like I said, guys, co-op after co-op after co-op. Then you have political co-ops. Oh, my nation, my country. Dude, you are no use to even yourself. What are you talking about? You are a net negative. You are bringing down the country average. Your nation would have been better off without you. The country doesn't need you. It is you who needs the country. The country title on your passport. You see people hanging on to ideologies, religions, different concepts to feel better about themselves. Because otherwise, what is even the point of all this, At the heart of so many co-ops, you will run into this. You will find this. I personally believe that this is the strongest motive. It is hard, man. It is hard to keep your head up in a world without any inherent purpose. You are suffering, but for what? This notion is just too brutal for a lot of people, for most people. This is why the BP ain't for the faint of heart. Everybody has their own way of trying to find a way, trying to find that reason in their lives. I remember that military guy who tried to burn himself. Not even try, he actually did it, set himself on fire. And for what? To protest for Palestine. Bro, in reality, you have accomplished nothing. You died for nothing. I know what you're gonna say. Oh, dude, he died for what he believed in. He didn't bitch on YouTube like you. Whatever helps you cope, whatever helps you sleep at night. I am sure he felt like that his life meant something. But in reality, he made a mistake. Now he's forgotten already. Did it change anything, realistically speaking? No. And this is much worse now, today, in this day and age, because the Mog is felt much closer to home. With the tech and internet being available everywhere, even some shepherd, oofy-doofy shepherd in Afghanistan, can see how brutal he's getting mogged now. He can open the Instagram and see all those white babes, while he has to see the behinds of sheeps and cattles. Back then, only 100 years ago, his world ended at the end of that farm. They didn't know anything else. Now everybody can see how brutally they are getting mocked, day in, day out. And this only makes their suffering harder. You are gonna remember that scene when the US military was pulling out of Afghanistan and all those people were trying to hang on to the wheels of the plane. But that is the level of desperation for those people. More the suffering, harder the cope. Bigger the mock, harder the cope.
You could be homeless, you could be broke, you could have no clothes, you could have a medical condition, you could have every single odd stacked against you. But if you have the right mindset, bro, there is absolutely nothing you can't fucking do in this life.
And the second biggest motivator, biggest driving force is to belong. Longing to belong to a community. People, especially sub-average, mediocre, oofy-doofy people, need protection from the mob otherwise. They are trying to accomplish that by, sticking together with a community. A community that protect them, comfort them, save him from loneliness and mock. This is not as strong as the search for meaning, but still a major one. A prime example of this is sports fans. You have dudes gathering around, and paying their oofy-doofy salary, half of their oofy-doofy salary to watch some already rich, multimillionaire athlete. This is mind-blowing, bro. But, these people, these sub-average, sub-5 oofy-doofies need a community. But of course, sports ain't the only one. Even though a good example, it is not the only one. You have political organizations and foundations. Guys, the cope never stops. In the past, I had said that the mog never stops. Yes, that is true. And now I say this too. Since the mog never stops, neither does the cope. Guys, cope and mog really goes hand in hand. Bigger the mog, harder the cope. Oh, more than a football club. Yeah, it is more than a football club. It is a cope club. It is an oofy-doofy club. You got that one right. And same with religion, guys. Like, religion promotes praying together, promotes a community. Sticking together is huge in every religion. Religion, gives you a community also. Nearly all religions promote collectivism. Guys, if you notice, strongest cults usually draw their power from multiple motives. Politics and religion not only provide you with a meaning for your otherwise meaningless, worthless, oofy-doofy life, but also gives you a community. That is why they are so prevalent, religion and politics.
I wish I could find a church of Satan. I know they have a church of Satan in California. And if I ever go to San Francisco, I want to go to the church of Satan. I believe Anton LaVey, he was the founder of the Church of Satan. I think Satan, he's somebody that I need to break bread with, because, Satan is the ruler of this world, and I want the things of the world, I want the finer things in life, the big booty whores. And I know Satan, he can give me those things.
The third biggest driving force behind all cops is the personal experience bias, which was mentioned as the idol of cave by Francis Bacon. Shout out to him. We indeed live in a mental cave. We tend to believe that our personal experiences have to be the reality, even if there is ample evidence against it. It makes us ignore the empirical evidence if it didn't happen to us on a personal level. Or it cannot be real if it isn't my reality. You are gonna remember that Asmongold clip. Oh, I know this because I have experienced this on a personal level.
Somebody says you don't have to be attractive if you're super funny. That's not true. People will not like you if you're ugly. It's a very low intelligence form of feeling, but it's incredibly prevalent. And yeah, people just won't like you. The reason why I'm saying this is because I've experienced it a lot myself personally. And it's people that they don't even listen to what I'm saying. They're just oh, this guy's weird looking. What the fuck? I don't want to listen to him. Fuck this guy. I hate this guy. It's a trigger for some people. Yeah, exactly. It makes them mad to look at you. Like, you don't even get a chance.
See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. So, if Asmongold was better looking, he wasn't going to realize that this happens all the time. He was going to agree with that comment. This is the problem with putting too much importance on your personal experiences. Don't base your opinions only on your personal experiences. Try to see the other angles. Try to look at the data. That is how you are gonna get to the truth. This is why I am adamant that in order to truly understand and digest the BP, you should be able to question your own personal experiences and biases that stem from those experiences. Personal experience isn't all that. Sometimes it is more important to look at the data, to look at the empirical evidence, to get to the truth. But people are just so close-minded and self-centered in nature, this is practically impossible to stop. And I am showing here a relatively intelligent person, Asmongold, but you can tell he himself would agree with that statement if he wasn't sub 5. He only knows that to not be the truth because he has experienced it himself. So guys, you can't stop a copper from coping. Oh, that is not my experience. Fuck your experience. Oh, I don't see it that way, but the evidence sees it that way, brother. Like, imagine your brother gets arrested, right? Arrested of murder. You go to the station, the police station. There they tell you what's up, why your bro got arrested. And you're like, oh no, my brother would never do such a thing. I don't see it that way. But there is footage of him entering and leaving the house at the exact time of the death. Fingertips on the gun, and you are still telling the cops, I don't see it that way. That is not my personal experience with him. He wouldn't even hurt a fly. I don't see it. The evidence sees it that way, bro. It doesn't matter what you see. Evidence sees it that way. And this is another thing that you guys get incorrect. When I say don't be a free agent in life, I don't mean it as only consider your own personal experiences and ignore good advice. Trusting your Pentium 2 single-core CPU, brother, you are not that guy. That is exactly why you have so many self-proclaimed BP guys in this space that go against the very basic tenets of the BP. Heightism gets denied. I'm not even gonna mention JBW, it gets denied all the time, despite there being such overwhelming empirical evidence in favor of it. I mean, the truth is there, out in the open, really. It is not hiding, but you don't wanna see it. You see what you wanna see. You see what fits your mental cave. And finally, the fourth one, solipsism. People are just so solipsistic in nature that they see humanity as much better in value than we really are. People see themselves as some sort of God's plan, design of some intelligent, omnipotent being, ignoring our imperfections and shortcomings. Oh, my genes, I have to have children and pass my genes on. Bro, fuck your genes. You are not that important. We are not that important as a species. We are full of imperfections and limitations. Oh, Rehab, I will just looks max and get to an 8 or a 9. No, you will not. Not everything is possible. We are not some superior beings, bro. Get off your high horse. Oh, bro, how is it possible that humans are a result of some random evolution? Look at what we have achieved. Does it really sound like this could be possible without an omnipotent God creating all of us? It does actually. It does sound more realistic than whatever mumbo jumbo you are believing in. Like, it isn't some wild, unbelievable theory the way I see it. But of course, being a conscious design of an omnipotent being sounds much more appealing. It feeds into those narcy people's egos much better. So it ain't hard to understand, really. The reason why the religion cult is so strong and widespread is this. It uses 3 of the 4 main driving forces behind all cults. It draws power from not only one, but other 3 as well. Not only it gives you a meaning, but it provides you with a sense of superiority as well. Feeds into human ego and solipsistic nature. And then on top of all that, it gives you a community, an artificial way to seek protection from the mob otherwise. That is why politics and religion are the 2 most widespread cults. But to conclude this video, I don't think that it is a possible or even an advisable action to try to get people to stop coping. Because 1, cope is legitimately the 3rd human instinct. You can't stop a coper from coping. And 2, life is suffering, man. And like I said, bigger the mock, harder the cop. Don't be a free agent in life.
like you lost another one.
Alright, what's up everyone? This is going to be a video basically talking about how last night I ascended. And no, this is not no delayed April Fool's joke or nothing. I actually did ascend last night with, a chick who, definitely a overweight, bigger chick, shorter, bigger chick, which, I mean, look, man, some people, I know some of the people that are not incels that watch my channel are going to be like, bro, you should have just, hit the right button on the controller at the right time and you would have been able to get some better. No, I don't even give a fuck about getting a chick who's really attractive or anything, because most of them, their ego is so bad that it's impossible to get anything out of them that's not a one-word answer. Like, no matter what, it doesn't matter what corny ass pickup line you say, what clothes you're wearing, what necklace you have on, none of that shit's gonna make a difference with them. I mean, their ego and their sexual inflation has, destroyed those kind of women. But I mean, with this chick, I met her last night, or not last night, a couple of nights ago. I started using Facebook dating. And Facebook dating, if you haven't heard of it, it's basically in the Facebook app. I believe, I know people are gonna say, oh, who the fuck uses Facebook? I know it's basically for boomers, I know that, but I mean, it's one of those things, like, we all have an account, but we really haven't closed our account. We haven't used our accounts in years, because I mean, that's just some boomer shit. But I mean, I was banned from pretty much every dating app. I was banned with my personal number, all my fake numbers, pretty much numerous times, because I've done at least 50 to 100 plus different Tinder experiments with numerous people, because of some of it was because curiosity, other ones was just hilarious, just because it was so funny. And if I would have done all these before my channel would have been big, or before I even had a channel period, I would have definitely showed these. I did them with numerous people. I did them with certain people I knew in my personal life, certain people, like numerous people. Like, I wanted to see, okay, certain guys I know, okay, this guy's bald, okay, here's a picture of him from a couple years ago before he went bald, let's see how he would do now, and conversate with the chicks and see how they, respond differently. Did it with different, I calculated a whole lot of things. I'm like, okay, all right, if I do an Asian girl, all right, it's going to be a bunch of white guys, hitting her up. If I do, they have to be I did it with different levels of looks. I did it with numerous ones. I've done it with fucking Black Ops 2 selling over in Asia. I've done it with so many different ones. I've done it with, let's just say I've just done 50 to 100 different ones. And what I did when I was doing the Tinder experiments was I'd go on Instagram and I would basically just look up whatever I was looking up in the hashtags. Like, if I was looking up blonde 23-year-old or something like that, or I'd go on like Twitter and look it up and find it in the photos and find, something like that. Like, if I was looking up maybe hashtag Asian man or something, do something like that. And I'd do it with anything, basically. I did so many of them, and they're just fun for me. I already knew the black pill was correct growing up. I knew that looks were important. So basically, the black pill to me confirmed that I wasn't just mentally fucking insane growing up. But yeah, pretty much I did so many of those to the point where I got banned off every app, and it's ridiculous. I tried so many phone numbers, and I wouldn't be shocked if I'm not location banned, but like IP banned as well, because I did so many of them, and I tried everything. Used VPNs. I did all this shit. I used an app, a GPS spoofer app. Some are gonna say, "Oh, that's why you weren't getting laid. You were too busy to." No, that's fucking retarded, because I got banned 2 years ago, and last year I didn't get any girls, but now it was just a one-off scenario. But it felt really good, getting ascending there. But okay, let me just say, I met her on Facebook dating app, so that's the only dating app I'm not banned from, because let's be real, most people under 40 don't really go on Facebook that often. I know there are a lot of people on there. There's people that post some memes and stuff like that, or they use the Messenger, or they use the Marketplace. There's certain things on there, but I mean, posting like people did a decade ago, no one's doing that shit anymore on there. But I mean, it's one of those things, people did it occasionally. But let's just say that out of any dating app I used, I went on there because that one, I don't think anyone's really talked about it. Anyone in the incel sphere hasn't talked about it. Anyone in any part of the manosphere. No one has talked about it because it's just something that, well, people don't really think of right away. And there was one other channel he talked about it. I'm not sure if this guy's like an incel or anything. His name is Rejected from, what is it? Rejected from Zero Eve or .0 Eve or something like that, or Rejection Eve, or I don't remember what the hell his name was. I mean, he had some good content. I don't know if he still uploads, but I mean, he talked about that app before, how it was a good app because that app, you can see, okay, oh, you're friends with this person, oh, you're friends with that person, okay, oh, you know this person. And he did that before, and he was talking about how he got some luck on that app, and you also got a lot less people are using that app due to it being less popular, so you're gonna have a better chance on there. I'm not saying just use this app, bro, because I don't want to turn into, one of those fucking blue pill dickheads, and I never will. The fucking blue pill, made me miserable. I mean, the blue pill, I made a fucking fool out of myself when I was blue pill. I mean, I absolutely hated it. That's why I just roast these blue pill guys, because I just it makes me want to bang my head against the wall whenever I hear stupid shit like, oh, just change your personality, just stop being creepy, just hold frame, bro, stuff like that. It's like, I don't got time for that. I already dealt with that shit in the past, so it's not something I got to worry about now. But on that app, I'm matched with her maybe a couple days back, and we were talking a bit, and she was 24 years old, according to her profile, 5'4", definitely bigger girl, not attractive at all. Many you would say she's sub 5, sub 4 or whatever, but I don't have standards. I'm being real. And to be fair, I didn't think she was bad looking at all, with my standards at least. I mean, she was half white, half Puerto Rican, but when you look at her, if she wouldn't have told you and you wouldn't have seen her family members, you would have just assumed she was, white. And you could tell by her hair that she was Puerto Rican as well, and that's something she mentioned. And honestly, I had a good time. She was also a single mother of, I think, 2 or 3 different kids, or 2 kids. I'm not sure. Hey, I'm not trying to, become a stepfather. I'm not raising her kids. I already, told her I'm not doing that. And honestly, when she didn't flake on me, and she actually, last night when we were texting around, we were texting around maybe 1-ish, no, probably around 1 or 12 or 1-ish last night, and she was talking about how she hasn't seen a guy in a while. She's not really having luck on this app, or guys don't respond to her, or some stuff like that. And she was like, oh, you're the first guy that's replied to me in a while. And later on, we were talking for a little bit, and I had to lie up and say, yeah, I get tons of women on this app. I had to bullshit it because your not your sexual market value, but your social value as a man is basically based on how much sex you have. So I kind of had to just lie up and say, hey, I got laid a whole bunch. And, technically I have, because I'm the escort cell. I've gotten tons of sex. But I just had to tell her that just to, increase the attraction. 'Cause I do think what you say does matter a little bit. Not as much as some people, not like the PUAs where they'll be like, oh, it's because you said that word at that time, that's why you didn't get laid. No, because honestly, as long as like basic things, like this is why I like Facing LMS, because he puts it, he's not like as fatalistic as some guys. He's like, okay, yeah, of course your looks are huge, but I mean, other things are gonna, help a little bit as well. So that's why I like his channel a lot, where some other guys is like, no, it's 100% looks. If you don't, which, okay, it is. If you are above like a 7 out of 10, you're a fucking full-on Chad, or a fucking male model, yeah, you can get away with everything. We already know that. But I mean, if you're not, which, the majority of people aren't, that's other things will help if you're already somewhat decent looking. And other things have helped. I'm not really sure why it happened. I think maybe it was a luck scenario, as well as I've been doing some looks maxing. I've been on finasteride for about a year or so, so I have a really fucked up hairline, I'm not gonna lie, but I at least have enough hair to like cover like my head. Yeah, if I shower or I get it wet, or you look at the certain angle, you'll be able to tell, yeah, it's thin up top, but I mean, I still got some hair, because the hair loss I had, yeah, I've always had a fucked up 5 head, and temples, my temples are LeBroning away, and I got a 5 head. But I mean, I do fade the sides, and I am able to grow like some, you know, some bangs, and it doesn't look bad due to how I have it. I'm not saying just get a haircut, bro, but what I did was I got on finasteride, and it helped me with that, as well as I wasn't really jacking off. I kind of reduced the amount of times I jacked off, so I did have a little bit of, I notice whenever I jack off too much, like too many times in a week, I start to, you know, notice hair fall, whereas also I'm very young, so I mean, or not very young, but I mean, like I'm under 30, so I mean, hair loss shouldn't be happening this early. I mean, it didn't happen to most other guys I know until later on. I know it happens a lot younger nowadays, but I mean, there's a lot of environmental factors that are causing it, as well as, you know, genetics, of course, is causing it. But yeah, so definitely, it's just a coincidence that the more looks maxed I've been, the closer I've gotten in the past. Like, when I was at my very lowest in terms of looks, like, it was so fucking brutal. I didn't even get greeted by Walmart greeters when I was at my very lowest, when I was, you know, obese and all that shit, and when I, you know, didn't even do mewing, didn't even have facial hair, when I was, you know, very soy, very blue pill, very like, and I'm not saying do all this shit and it'll work. No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying when I was at my very lowest, I looked disgusting. I barely was even doing the basic shit. I did all the basic shit years ago, didn't work, and then I tried the red pill shit. That didn't really work for me too well, and then I kind of just been doing whatever I want. I didn't really feel a need. After I realized that shit didn't work, I kind of went back to doing what I was doing, and, you know, didn't really give a shit about the trends and keeping up with the Joneses or any of that bullshit. I kind of just stuck to what I was doing, and, you know, it was just a luck scenario last night. I mean, looks and luck are pretty much the main factors, in my opinion, at least. You know, that's debatable, of course, but I mean, looks and luck, in my opinion, are the big factors. Yeah, money and status are, of course, those are important, of location, all those things are important, but I mean, hey, this was a one-off scenario, and I'm not gonna say, you know, of course, I'm still gonna go to escorts. Heck, I was looking at the site this morning, I'm like, yeah, that felt pretty good, and there definitely was some benefits to getting it free through like a hookup scenario like that, or a meetup scenario, which was right when I got to her crib. I was able to lay back for a bit. You know, we chilled in her bed, and I didn't have to whip out my genitals clutch right away, and, you know, do it within 3 seconds. And I didn't have to worry about cops or anything. I didn't have to worry about, oh, is a pimp gonna come in? Because I've had some issues in the past where I've worried too much about it. I try not to worry, and numerous things can help me not worry, like taking, what's it called, ashwagandha, which is something that helps your mind focus. I've also done, you know, stuff like CBD. That has helped me with my not getting too stressed or not worrying before I see an escort, as well as, you know, going there on a full stomach. Certain things like that, you know, because I a couple times in the past I've gotten like a little, I'm wary, because I have gotten caught by cops before, but not like in the sense of they saw me paying for pussy. In the sense they caught me, like they saw me at the hotel and they were like, hey, what are you doing? Or, you know, they looked at my car, or, you know, certain things like that. So definitely, you know, I've always been a professional, you know, person that can just get away with bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm the biggest bullshitter on the planet when it comes to, not when it comes to YouTube, but I mean, when it comes to certain things in life, I'm able to get out of certain situations. Like, I know this is a retarded, random story. This is gonna be just a giga rant. I remember in 8th grade, we had these presentations we were supposed to do. Every month, we had to read a different book and do a book report about it. And I did the same exact, I read one book that year, and I just copy and pasted it the same every month of the school year, and then turned it in, but just changed the date. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, and I still aced the class. I'm literally a professional bullshitter when it comes to that. So, you know, I just lied to the officer and said I was I worked at the hotel, or I've said that, oh, I you know, do deliveries here, and I just, you know, dropped off something for a customer or something. I just, you know, I just bullshitted it. I mean, there's so many ways you can get out of it. I mean, the best way is, you know, just to not even have that situation happen to begin, but there's that. So, hey, man, I mean, it was great to get in there, but when I did get there, it did feel pretty good because I was able to lay back for a little bit, you know, chill. We talked, we had a good conversation, we got along well, and, you know, normally most women, no matter what they look like, I've tried shit, I've tried chicks in wheelchairs. I've tried chicks with autism. I've tried so much shit in the past, and nothing has really worked. At best, I'd get, close to it, or, via photo frauding, I'd get like a chick that was somewhat interested, and then when she'd see what I truly look like, she'd block me right away, or she'd lose all interest. Like the biggest example of this once was via photo frauding. I photo frauded so hard, I was wearing sunglasses, wasn't even looking at the camera, standing in front of a luxury car that wasn't mine, doing all this bullshit. And then she wanted a FaceTime call. And then when we got on a FaceTime call, this was a different chick for anyone that's, trying to confuse these two things. This was like 2 years ago. This happened. And then this chick, we were going to FaceTime call. I was sitting in my car, right? And it was dark out. And I turned on my lights, and her face, her smile that she had, I saw what she looked like before. I saw her facial expressions before the call. The second I turned on the lights, her smile just boom. Now, she didn't even have a smile before, but she had like a blank facial expression. It just diminished. It just like sank down immediately. Like she was like, oh God, this guy looks way worse than he did in person. I didn't have a hat on or anything in that picture. I looked gross. I mean, that was very brutal. And I was already, I already knew why she, lost all interest. And I was like, okay, there goes the cope of photo frauding. I mean, it's not a cope. I'd say it's worth a try in case she doesn't try to verify you, in case you can try to just get to her house or anything. But when I did show up, she didn't really say anything. And that's good. She didn't really bring up, oh, you look different from your pictures or nothing, because I didn't. Those pictures, I think I took them in late 2019. So those are early to mid 2020. So I don't really take a whole lot of pictures. I mean, let's be real. A lot of men, we really don't, unless we're extremely good looking or women find us really attractive. So there's an incentive to take them. But for the most part, the majority of men, they don't really got to do that. But I have a couple, like 3 or 4, decent ones that, yeah, they're photo frauded. Yeah, the lighting's perfect. Yeah, I'm lightening up my skin. Yeah, I'm, editing my eye color. I got dark colored eyes, editing them a little bit and, just bullshitting it and saying they're contacts. I don't even mention that because I've never been asked. I don't even get the time of day in most scenarios, but that was what was happening. But when I did meet up last night, it felt pretty good. We just laid back for a little bit, like 20, 30 minutes. We had a good conversation and I settled in. She, started removing her clothes and I knew what to do right away. And she was 24 years old. So let's just say, if you're a virgin at that age, some chicks might be like, okay, what the hell is happening? This is a little, this ain't really working like that. You're going to have to, or they may just kick you out, or they may not say anything at all. But due to the fact I've seen, quite a few escorts, quite a few prostitutes in the past, it did feel, natural. I knew exactly what to do. Heck, I knew exactly what to do on my first time. I knew tons of positions because I used to jack off, like 6+ times a day. I've already made a video talking about that, so I already knew everything. As well as, hey, it felt good. I didn't have no worries, no nothing. Didn't have to worry about anything. No performance anxiety because I've gone to escorts in the past. I've had a lot of things. It was a chill experience, as well as I was able to stay as long as I wanted. Whereas the escorts, it's like, I got to get this in 15 minutes. Oh, so many times. Oh, I don't get my nut in. Okay, fine. I have to go home and use my fleshlight. Oh, it's like, nah, with this, she let me stay as long as I wanted, do what I want. Felt great. At least we stayed at least an hour and a half. I mean, if you want to count the time we weren't having sex, probably around 2 hours. I mean, it was a 20-minute drive and back. I mean, around 2-3 hours. So I wasted 3 hours. But I mean, here's the thing. Look, that time, I think it was quality time spent. I mean, the validation right there, having a chick, choose to have sex with me, that did feel really good. Someone say, oh, you're just doing it for an ego boost. No, I didn't do it. I did it because I was able to do it. I mean, that said, if I never get laid again, or if it's, months before I do again, or weeks or years or whatever, I do plan on meeting this chick again. We don't have any plans, but she is still replying to my text. That said, I mean, this happened at 3 a.m. yesterday. So, I mean, if she's replying right now at 7 p.m. I mean, I'm so used to getting flaked on that when a chick doesn't flake on me, I'm surprised. Like, that was little thing that I picked up on when I was doing the Chadfish. Not even Chadfish, 'cause I've done them with guys that were normies. I've done them, and you can get the occasional land wheel match, or guys that are like decent looking enough, so there's some subjectivity over how they look, like guys that are not full on, you know, good looking, because you can do certain things with experiments and see how certain chicks respond and how they reply, and, you know, making sure the length of your reply is, you know, akin to hers, you know, certain things like that. Those are all things that I learned when I was doing PUA a couple years back. So some of it was helpful tips to know. That's how I look at PUA. I think of it as tips to know, certain things that you should dabble into for a little bit, but don't pay for any of that, because there's so much free content. You don't gotta read any books. There's just a couple videos you gotta watch and little things you gotta know. Because I used to be the biggest simp on the planet, and someone would say, oh, that's why you weren't getting girls. I think no, I was the biggest simp on the planet in tandem with not having the looks. Because I mean, some of the biggest simps I've known were good looking guys, like Chads, Tyrones. Some of them, they are the biggest simps on the planet. I had a Chad Rodriguez years back he threatened to come to my state and beat my ass because I said the wrong word to some random chick who lived, pretty much I don't even know, she lived, you know, nowhere close to me. At least I wouldn't be shocked if she lived in a different country. I think this was at Mexico or close to Mexico, and she didn't know what I looked like. This was on Facebook using a bullshit account. This was when Facebook was still cool, so I was using a bullshit account. And, you know, no pictures of me on there, obviously. If she would have saw the pictures of me, especially me at that time, she would have not even had the conversation to begin. But that guy was, I had my real name on that account, so she was threatening to, or that Simp Rodriguez, you know, that Chad Rodriguez right there, he was threatening to beat my ass. And I'm like, dude, quit the bullshit. I just responded to him. I'm like, dude, when he was saying all that, I'm like, dude, you ain't ever gonna find me. And I just moved on with that bullshit. I'm not gonna, you know, entertain clowns like that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have to worry about anything when I went. I mean, a lot of guys that are not incel that watch my videos are gonna be like, oh, why are you hyping up something so little? It's like, dude, it felt good to have the experience, so if it ever does happen again, I know what to do. I know it's not gonna be, you know, how it is. I didn't have to worry about certain things. Also, you know, with some of the escorts, it's like, oh, I'll only suck your dick for this amount of time, or this. It's like, nah. This girl, it was like, I told her what and what not to do. I mean, some are gonna call me a fake cell for this. This isn't our problem. You're a fake cell. I mean, all these, you know, retarded labels. I mean, certain labels are good to have, because I like having labels for things like, if I put Blackpill in the title of a video of mine, if someone who, let's say it's his first time finding a Blackpill video, finds a video of mine that has Blackpill in the title, he'll go look up Blackpill, and, you know, maybe he'll find some, you know, bullshit, you know, like bullshit, what is it, PUA nonsense, or he'll find some, you know, haircut, you know, bullshit channel. But I mean, if he does find some real content, he'll at least, you know what said videos are called, because that was kind of what happened to me with MGTOW videos years back, because Sandman puts MGTOW in all of his videos. So that's how I was able to discover the Manosphere very easily, because he puts that, and he still does to this day, in all his titles. So hey, that helped out a lot, as well as, you know, look, man, I feel good about myself. I feel pretty proud of myself that I did ascend. I mean, heck, oh, she wasn't attractive, it don't count. Nah, fuck that bullshit. I don't care if she's not attractive. If you're unattractive, you better be fucking thankful for what you can get. I know someone's gonna say, oh, just, you know, do this. I don't need no advice right now. I don't need any advice right now. I'm just saying, this is what happened last night, and this is how it is. I'm not asking for advice. But yeah, pretty much it went pretty well. I mean, I didn't really have to worry about anything. I mean, a lot of PUAs talk about, oh, it's this magical, different experience, having sex for free opposed to having sex with an escort. It's this magical, massive difference. It's like, no, it's not that big of a difference. It's like going from the Xbox One controller to the Xbox Series X controller. It's like, it's the same, similar controller. It's just the Series X controller has a share button, it has textured grips, it's a little bit smaller, the shape's a little different, but overall, if you were to use the Xbox One controller opposed to the Series X controller. It's similar enough to the point you wouldn't notice that big of a difference. Another analogy I'd like to use for people that are not familiar with said controllers is if you have an app. Let's say you have like an app that's like a free version, and you know it does pretty much everything you need to do, like a video editing app, but there's like a watermark, or there's certain differences when you're, and I'm comparing, you know, when you get it for free opposed to when you pay. I'm comparing when you pay to when you get it for free. When you get it for free, you know, there's certain little pros and bonuses that you don't get when you pay for it, like, you know, taking as long as you want and not having to worry about some other stuff. Hey, it's not that big of a difference. It's not this, oh my God, it's so different, I can't go back. Oh my God, it's that big of a difference. It's like, no, it's not. It's like going from an iPhone, it's like an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 12. It's not that big of a difference. Yeah, there's technical changes. It's not that big of a difference. Like, sure, oh yeah, it felt better. I mean, of course the escorts look better, but I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I don't really care. It's not about how the chick looks. I mean, if it was really about just looking at a chick, I would just, you know, I would just pay for fucking only scams. It's about actually having sex. It's not about looking at the chick. I mean, in terms of the sex, she was pretty decent. I mean, of course I've had way better. Of course, the escorts, I mean, they're way better at sex, but I mean, hey, look, it was still decent. I was able to do what I wanted. It felt convenient, and that was pretty good. I mean, I know someone in the comments is going to say, oh my God, you could have done this years ago easily. It's like, dude, I've tried. I've tried a lot in the past. I mean, it just happened to be last night was a luck scenario, or, you know, she liked how I looked, or I don't even know what it was. I think it was just a one-off scenario, and maybe we do meet again. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I'm not really looking for anything long-term with this chick right now. Nothing against her. I mean, she's pretty great in terms of, you know, the fact, or not really great, but I mean, she treated me like a normal human. And I'm not gonna, you know, fall back to the blue pill ever. I mean, the blue pill, I've seen what happened to my dad. I mean, my dad, you know, he got manipulated, walked all over, kicked, you know, basically, you know, treated like shit. I mean, he was very, very blue pill, and I've seen what happened to him, the misery and the pain he had to go through, and especially as his looks deteriorated, he got treated way, way worse by his woman opposed to prior. Like, my dad, he used to, you know, he was never good looking, but I mean, like, after he broke his back and, you know, gained a bunch of weight, as well as after he lost his hair, he started getting treated horribly by his woman, you know, horribly. I mean, oh my God, you know, nagged at 24/7, you know, she was never great to him. She settled for him as a beta bucks, but I mean, oh my God, it's just, the treatment was night and day, and I saw it when I was younger. And, you know, oh yeah, they still have a quote-unquote happy marriage, which a happy marriage just means, are you two able to take a fucking picture together and put on a cheesy smile and then, you know, capture the picture and, you know, say you're happy in a caption on Instagram? That's basically what a happy quote-unquote couple means. And I say happy quote-unquote because, I mean, most couples are not. I mean, most couples are miserable. That's why when a lot of guys talk about I need love or whatever, it's like, dude, what you're looking for is not real. I mean, it just doesn't exist. When you say you want a quality relationship, that's different. I mean, hey, 90% of men, or not 90% of men, but a good amount of men, if we could get the ideal situation, that would be good, and we would not really have a problem with that. I'm definitely being honest about that. Of course we would, but I mean, the problem is ideals don't really exist in this society. I mean, it's not that big. But yeah, overall, I had a pretty good experience, and, you know, when we left, you know, it was pretty similar, and I see the escorts. They're pretty much doing the same thing. It's just slightly different. You know, you get the ego boost, as well as you're able to do what you want. And if I was able to get it for free every single, or not every single day, no. If every, you know, time I wanted to get laid for free, or every time I wanted to get laid for any situation at all was, you know, for free by, you know, any manner, you know, meeting a chick, dating, hooking up, whatever, opposed to paying for it, yeah, I would. But I mean, in terms of the overall experience, because when you pay for sex, you're paying for an experience. You're paying for her to have, you know, dimly lit lighting. You're paying for her to, you know, dress well, because some of these chicks, they buy certain clothing for their not for the clients to wear, but I mean, if they really like a client, they'll be like, okay, I'll get this clothing because he really likes it. Or the escorts, you're paying for an experience. you're not, or some would say you're paying for her to leave. I agree with that. But I mean, hey, it overall was worth it. And I mean, some people will say that, oh, you still paid because what is it? You had to pay with your time. Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, hey, what else was I going to do last night? You know, jack off? No. But I mean, hey, it was worth it. I mean, what I think is when you're paying with time, when it gets to the point where you're having to go on, you know, fucking over 3-4 dates and all this nonsense, or I wouldn't say 3 dates is bad, but after that, or I didn't go on any dates with this chick, but I mean, when you have to do all this nonsense and, you know, jump through hoops and, you know, just simp a shit ton. I didn't have to simp really at all. I didn't have to do anything like that. But I mean, when you have to do all this excess nonsense, that's when paying with your time becomes a problem. Some would say, oh, you still paid with gas? Yeah, true. But I already needed gas anyways, so I'm about to refill that tonight. So it's not like, oh my God, all that money on gas. And it's like, even if it's like, I still have to get gas when I pay for a prostitute. So it's like all men pay. It's just we pay different amounts, and some amounts are drastically reduced. And I mean, that's how I would describe last night. And hey, I'm still going to make Blackpill content. You know, some would say, oh, you can't call yourself an incel anymore. It's like, okay, I won't. And someone would say, oh, you still are, because that was just a one-off scenario. I don't know at this point. I mean, I'm not going to call myself any of that. I'm still going to keep the name Based Escort Cell. I'm always going to keep that name because I like the term escort cell. I mean, it describes what you are, because, look, I mean, technically some would say, oh, if you have sex with escorts, you're not technically involuntarily celibate. And I'm like, yeah, from a definition, autistic literalist standpoint, yeah, that's true. But I mean, if that was really the case, then all men would just go gay and not be incel then. Like, if it was that simple, all men would just go gay. So I think there are certain reasons to have qualifications and boundaries of what can be considered one and what can't. I know someone like Faith, he says that you've had to have tried in the past and done certain things in the past to qualify yourself as an incel, which I actually agree with his definition, or his personal definition on that. He gives a very good explanation when he talked about that in certain live streams. But yeah, man, for the most part, look, it definitely felt good, and especially because 2 days back on April Fool's Day, I actually got rejected by a prostitute, and I never had that happen. Actually, I had it once in the past because she said I was too young. It was a chick who, an older chick in, I think her late 30s. I mean, I like all kinds of chicks. I've gone through phases of chicks I like. I mean, that's what I like about escorts, is the variety. It's like, okay, if 1 week I want Asian girls, next week I want a blonde girl. I have choice. I want a skinny girl. I want a bigger girl. I have the options. I want a girl who's obviously, as long as they're legal, of course. But I mean, I have all the options. I have the choice, and that's what I like. It's like, someone say, oh, it's glorified masturbation. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just sex with the with the pros you'd get from masturbation, like choice and all that stuff. So I like the escorts. I'm never going to stop it. And I'm never going to tell someone to not do that. I don't ever want to fall back to the blue-pilled bullshit or, the PUA bullshit. You're never going to see escort cell pickup on this channel. You're never going to see that shit. No. I made a joke in one of my videos about a year ago that, hey, if I literally one day might become a pickup artist, I might just joke about it. I made a joke in one of my videos saying I'd become a PUA if I could, but I mean, I'm not saying, I said hypothetically, yeah, but I never would do that because, I mean, that's just a waste of time, and that I'd rather just get a job like a normal fucking person, not, scam people out of their money. I mean, that's disingenuous. It's just not, no, some of these guys, it's like, I don't know why you're scamming people. It's like, you guys have houses, you guys have, families, why are you scamming people? It's not like you're homeless living inside of like some abandoned house and you need the money desperately. So why are you scamming people? That's my question. It's like, these guys they have average incomes and they're still scamming people. Like, stop. But yeah, man, I don't advocate for any scamming at all. I mean, from a morality standpoint, no scamming at all should be tolerated. But I mean, if you're going to do it, nothing I can do to stop you. All I can do is just roast you about it. But yeah, man, I mean, from a technical standpoint, it felt pretty good, getting it off, getting getting it for free, you know, heck, I would love for it to happen again, or this to become like a FWB, you know, situation where it would happen multiple times. I would like that, or, you know, some sort of short term, you know, something. But hey, if that happens, that would be great. I mean, I felt good knowing that it happened, knowing that I can, you know, say I'm officially not a virgin. I mean, technically we've all been virgins, but I mean, like, in terms of getting laid, I've had sex with numerous escorts, and I continually will. I mean, I just like knowing about escorts, even if you're not interested in going to one, if you're like a normie, so you get laid from time to time, but you have dry spells. Hey, it's good to have the option just to pay for it, just to know, hey, okay, oh, if a chick really flaked on me like that, okay, I really need to get my nut off. I'm just going to pay for it. Having knowledge about escorts is great. And this is the thing I like about all this stuff, is pick and choose what, you know, there's tons of knowledge in the manosphere, but pick and choose where you get it. I mean, if you know, disagree with me on the Blackpill stuff or whatever, you know, I'll never convince you. I know I'm right, but I mean, I'll probably never convince you. But if you agree with the escort stuff, that's fine. I have all kinds of people that agree with my content, you know, and I don't really care. You know, I'd prefer my viewer base to be incels or whatever, because I feel like they have the best interpretation of certain things regarding the Blackpill. I mean, but the problem is a lot of them don't get enough views because they have small voices, and no pun intended, but small voices in the sense that their voice, you know, isn't, you know, enjoyable to listen to. You know, my face and my voice don't match. That's something that I've had to state numerous times. Some people have thought it was jarring when I open my mouth. So, because I look very, very soyish in the face. I mean, it's not a matter of not having enough testosterone. It's just simply that's how my facial structure is. All the other men in my family that are more masculine, they just have very soyish, flat faces that are not attractive. So there's that. So, and, you know, virtually no lips, and, you know, I don't really have that great of a face. So there's certain things like that. But hey, the fact that it happened I can't talk tonight. You know, the fact that it happened, hey, it felt great. I mean, it worked pretty well, and hey, I'm glad it happened, and I'm still going to make content. I may, you know, there might be a slight change in my content, but overall, it's the same. It's still going to be the same channel, same me. I just have one new experience. So, and it actually might benefit the channel in the sense that if someone's, you know, arguing with me that, oh, don't pay for it, bro, free sex is so much better, I can say, okay, yeah, it is better, but not by leagues and leagues better that you would be like, oh my God, it's that massive difference. It's like, no, it's not as big of a difference as you guys like to make it out to be. I've ranted on a lot in this video. I don't even know. I'm not even able to see how long recording times are with the app I use. But that's all I'm going to say with this video, and I'm out.